Today we are going to be reading the book Owl Moon. You may have read this before, but it's a pretty story. I love the pictures and illustrations in it are really pretty. But besides that, this book has similes in it. We're going to be able to identify our similes again. And then your job for today, your language objective, is you're going to write some similes of your own. You're going to have some to finish, and then the sentences will be started for you, and then you'll finish it. Let me explain that better. Okay. And then at the bottom of your seesaw activity, I'm going to have you actually write a simile yourself. Okay. So hope you're up for it. Here we go. Owl Moon. Okay, here we go. It was late one winter, long past my bedtime, when Pa and I went owling. There was no wind, the trees stood still as giant statues, and the moon was so bright the sky seemed to shine somewhere behind us. A train whistled, blew, long and low, like a sad, sad song. So remembering our similes from the other day, they use the words like and as to connect. So how many did you hear in that passage? I heard 2. So let's see if we can find them again. The trees stood still as giant statues. So that gives us an image of what the trees looked like. And the other one was, somewhere behind us, a train whistle blew long and low like a sad, sad song. So they're comparing what the train whistle sounded like, a sad song. So listen to this one and see if you can find it. I could hear it through the woolen cap Pa had pulled down over my ears. A farm dog answered the train, and then a second dog joined in. They sang out trains and dogs for a really long time, and when their voices fade away, it was as quiet as a dream. We walked on towards the woods, Pa and I. So I hope that you found quiet as a dream in that one. Our feet crunched over the crisp snow, and the little gray footsteps followed us. Pa made a long shadow, but mine was short and round. I ran after him. Every now and then, to keep up, my short, round shadow bumped after me. I never called out, if you go owling, you have to keep quiet. That's what Pa always says. I had been waiting to go owling with Pa for a long time. I didn't hear any on those pages. We reached the line of pine trees, black and pointy against the sky, and Pa held up his hand. I stopped right where I was and waited. He looked up as if searching the stars, as if reading a map up there. The moon made his face into a silver mask. He called, woo, 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 the sound of the great horned owl. Woo, 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 woo. So they compared him looking up with 2 different similes, as if searching the stars and as if reading the map up there. He called out again. After each call, he was silent. For a moment, we both listened, and there was no answer. Pa shrugged, and I shrugged. I was not disappointed. My brothers all said, sometimes there's an owl, and sometimes there isn't. I didn't hear one on that page either. We walked on. I could feel the cold, as if someone's icy hand was palmed down on my back. And my nose and the tops of my cheeks felt cold and hot at the same time. But I never said a word. If you go owling, you have to be quiet and make your own heat. So that one was comparing the cold to someone's icy palm down my back. I bet you felt that before. I sure have, living in Minnesota. We went into the woods. The shadows were the blackest things I had ever seen. They stained the white snow. My mouth felt furry, for the scarf over it was wet and warm. I didn't ask what kind of things behind the black trees in the middle of the night. When you go owling, you have to be brave. We came to a clearing in the dark woods. The moon was high above us. It seemed to fit exactly over the center of the clearing. The snow below it was as white as the milk in a cereal bowl. So that one was the milk in the cereal bowl. We know what milk looks like, don't we? Super white. Here we go. I sighed, and Pa held up his hand at the sound. I put my mittens over the scarf over my mouth and listened hard. And then Pa called, whoop, 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 whoop. I listened and looked so hard my ears hurt, and my eyes got cloudy with the cold. Pa raised his face to call out again, but before he could open his mouth, an echo came threading through the trees. Woo, 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 woo. Didn't hear one on that one. Pa almost called back. Then Pa almost smiled. Then he called back, "Oh, oh, 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 oh," just as if the owl were talking about supper or about words or about the moon or the cold. I took my mitten off the scarf, off my mouth, and I almost smiled too. The owl came closer from high up in the trees. On the edge of the meadow, nothing in the meadow moved. All of a sudden, an owl shadow, part of the big tree shadow, lifted off. It flew right over us, and we watched silently with our heat on our mouths and the heat of all the words we had not spoken. And the shadow hooted again. If you look, the owl's way up here. Pa turned on his flashlight and caught the owl just as it was landing on a branch. For 1 minute, 3 minutes, maybe even 100 minutes, we stared at one another. Then the owl pumped its great wings and lifted off the branch like a shadow without sound. It flew back into the forest. Time to go home, Pa said to me. I knew then I could talk. I could even laugh out loud, but I was a shadow as we walked home. So there was another one in there too. It said, the great owl pumped its wings and lifted off the branch like a shadow. When you go owling, you don't need words or warm or anything but hope. That's what Pa says, the kind of hope that flies on silent wings under a shining owl moon. Okay, I hope you were able to hear those similes in your head and figure those out as we went along. So go ahead into your next page on your slide and complete the activity on there, because then it shouldn't take you too long. Just complete some sentences and then write one simile or maybe two on your own. So have a great day. Bye.